Yeah, I'm Steve. I'm just going to do a quick review of the JEDNA DNA30 mod, and this is from a guy called Jemmy of Vaping Gadgets on Facebook, and I think he's also got a site called vapinggadget.org. But I'd go on Facebook and check that out first, and obviously you'll find out a little bit more about it through that. So yeah, all I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a quick little rundown on what you get and show you the actual mod in close up, and then I'm going to have a vape on it. Okay, so this is your JEDNA box. You can take the lid off and you've got a nice velvet pouch there, and if you open that up you can take your JEDNA out. And this is a DNA30 Tube style mod. It's got a nice bit of engraving there. Let's see if I can zoom it. There you go. That's quite a nice engraving, and it's also got engraving on the bottom where it will say, let's have a look, it's not just vapor, it's art. And it also says Jemmy on the bottom, which is a guy who made the mod. So yeah, I'll start from the top down. You've got an adjustable centre pin, so it'll fit all your atomizers and all your rebuildables. It won't fit your Ego, so CE4s and that style ones, but obviously it'll fit all your rebuildables. I'll just show you quickly, and you'll not have any sort of gap. It's all flush, so kind of looks pretty much like hybrid style. Obviously there's no like grooves in here, so if you need an atomizer with an airflow what comes from the bottom of the 510 connection, they won't. I'm guessing they won't work. Pretty sure they won't work. So it's pretty much a rebuildables kind of mod, just for your RBAs really. Right, so you've got 3 tubes at the bottom there. It's in 18650 mode at the moment. If you remove the tube, one of the tubes here, and then screw the bottom bit on, you'll have 18500 or 490. And if you remove these 2 here and just screw the bottom onto it, you've got an 18350 mod. So you can choose which battery you want really out of the 1800s to use with it. And it is a beautiful mod. I mean, yeah, I mean, I love this DNA30 board. It's beautiful. All the like the machining around this actual screen is actually perfect. It's really spot on and well. It's really well made. Yeah, so that's pretty much it, really. I mean, it's just a gorgeous mod. I will quickly run you through the actual all your sort of buttons and configurations and stuff. So if that's your fire button, and this is your up and down sort of buttons, power or your wattage up, wattage down. So basically, if you hit your fire button 5 times, it'll lock the screen. Let me just focus it if I can. Yeah, so now it's locked. So if I hit the button 5 times again, it's unlocked. So it's saying check atomizer. So obviously I ain't got an atomizer on it, so it's just saying check atomizer. If you press both of these at once, you can lock your actual up and down. So you've got your ups and down. If you keep your finger on them, it'll just scroll up and down. And then I can press them both together and it will lock that as well, so just in case you don't want them. There you go, and I'll just do it again and unlock it, just in case you put it in your pocket or you don't want to be hitting it by accident. But although with this mod I've never done that. So you can also do a couple of other things. You can flip the screen so it's upside down, so if you want to have it that way around, whether you're left or right handed, you can do that by just if you lock the screen and then you press these two, that will flip it over. You have to wait quite a while, and then it's flipped over. I'll just turn it back. And then the other ones is on the other side. If you hold them two together, it turns it to stealth mode, which basically it just turns the LED screen off. See, it's on normal, it's gone to stealth mode. It's still on normal mode, but you have to keep your finger on it. I think it's for 10 seconds, but I didn't do that. Then I took my finger off, but I'm not doing it again. I can't be arsed. So yeah, and that's basically it. I mean, you don't really need to mess with it too much. You've got your wattage already displaying on the screen at all times. If you fire your fire button, your screen it's like set to a normal sort of brightness, and then when you fire it, it becomes even brighter. And then I think it's after 10 seconds, or it might be 20 seconds, the actual screen dims, and then after a minute, or I don't know if it's 1 minute or 2 minutes, the screen actually turns itself off. So say it's just dimmed there, and it's even dimmed even further, and it's just turned itself off. So maybe that's like a minute or whatever. And then just turn it back on. You just press any of these buttons and it'll turn itself back on. So yeah, it's very, very, very nice board. I love this DNA30. It's the first DNA board. I've had a kick, but I suppose that don't count really. I mean, it's just an evolved kick. But whereas in your DNA, I didn't have a DNA20, and I do like wattage. So I've had wattage mods, but they've been cheap Chinese wattage mods, so they haven't lasted too long. So I just wanted one what would last me. So I thought, well, I'll go with something like this. It looks pretty good, and it's a beautiful looking mod. And the DNA board has been raved about, so I thought I'd check it out. Right, so when I got this mod, I did have a problem where these two up and down wattage buttons, where you turn your wattage up and down, I was having it for say a day or two and pressing the up and downs, and then they were sticking on, so the wattage were just going all the way up to 30, and then pressing it down. So what happening is the board inside were moving up like half a millimetre or a millimetre. So I got in touch with Jemmett, the guy who makes it, and he told me to take this top off, which you can unscrew the top off, and then you've got the inside of the board here, and he told me to pull that out, which is the top part here, which connected underneath that is just a red wire, which is a positive wire. So that's a positive pin there, and all that does is that just presses onto that, and that's what connects into the center pin of your atomizer. So I pulled that out, and then the board's just sort of across there, and I just pushed the board back down and just clicked back down into place. But even so, after a couple of days it came up again, so I probably ended up having to do that 3 times until I thought, well, I can't be doing this every time. So I actually got my glue gun out and put some hot glue, a couple of little dabs of hot glue on either side of the board on the inside of the internals, and that's cured it. So I did have to do a little bit of modding to make it so it works like perfect without having to take the board off every time. So, and Jemmett did mention that is one thing that he was going to be working on, and he needed to sort out for this mod. So hopefully he'll when he starts bringing these out for sale in his next batch or whatever, that he'll have that little problem sorted. And also this is the center pin there. You can screw that out if you really want to, and there's a spare one which it gives you here. I don't know whether this is longer for some reason or whether it's just a spare one, but I'm guessing it could be a little bit longer just in case some atomizers to make connection on a few atomizers. I'm not quite sure. I've not tried it, and I've not had any problems with the one that's on, so that's just hazarding it, I guess, really. But also I would say something that's been niggling me is this thread here, which obviously threads onto there, has only got one thread around it, and I would say it could do another thread on it. Just, I mean, it threads on all right, but I just personally, I would just say it needs another one on it, just for it just seems to thread on a bit easier, I would say. And probably another thing that, another little gripe, I suppose, if I wanted to get a little bit picky, is these seams here. You know, they could be a little bit more seamless. So I mean, for me, you know, when you get close up, they're not like they're not seamless. So you know, they could just be slightly better. But I mean, you know, nevertheless, it don't take away the fact that it is a beautiful mod. I mean, the button is it feels clicky, but it's not clicky. It's like, just feels clicky, but it's a really nice button. It's quite light. But yeah, it's just, so hopefully that button, I don't know what the DNA30 buttons inside the board are. I don't know what the life expectancy of them is. I'm sure it's a few 100,000, so you know, hopefully this mod will last me a year or two, and then I would say it'll be worth it. But yeah, as it looks, and with the DNA30 inside there, I'm extremely happy with it. Really nice mod. Also, you have got your vent hole in the bottom there, just in case your battery has a bit of a, you know, malfunction and it starts venting. Your gases can escape from that hole there. So yeah, I think that pretty much covers everything about the mod I can really think of at the moment. Yeah, very nice. Right, so now you've seen what you get and what the actual mod's about, so I'll show you it in action. So I've got 1.8 ohm coil using an Arga T2, and it's at 8 watts, so that's giving out 3.8 volts. And yeah, I absolutely love this mod. I think it's amazing. I mean, I really like the DNA30. I'm like really impressed with this DNA30 board. But yeah, overall, I mean, we can't really knock it. I mean, battery time seems to last forever. And probably it's because I looked on the Evolve site, and the actual board, when the battery's running down, it runs all the way down to it says 3.1 volts is the cut-off time. But I have I have vaped it all the way down to where it cuts off, and it vapes really well. And you can like vape it and then leave it for a minute and then have another vape on it until it ends up cutting off, just totally cuts off, and then you obviously need to charge your battery up. But I did take my battery out and put it in my Prevera and just check the voltage, what the battery was at, and it was reading 3 volts, so I would say it probably did start cutting off at 3.1 volts, but maybe because of that, it just seems to last, it just seems to last a lot longer than in the other variable wattage and voltage mods. But yeah, it's just a beautiful mod, really. I can't knock it, other than having that problem with the up and down buttons at the start. Now I've fixed it and I've not had any problems since I've done it, and it's just working perfectly, so I'm really happy with it. The actual mod, I think it's £212 It works out at £212, including shipping from Malaysia. But I bought this mod off a guy off the forums for 205 quid. So I mean, if you buy it, or you get in touch with Jemmett and buy the mod, and if it's in pounds, it works out at £212. That's what the guy said who I bought it off anyway. So I think it's $300 and odd. But you'll have to contact Jemmett if you're interested in getting one of these and have a word with him and see what he's saying. But yeah, there's not really much else to say about it really, other than, you know, I should have a quick vape on it, you know. So, I have I haven't tried the mod up at like, I don't know, 20 watts or 30 watts, because I don't really vape it at high wattage. I mean, this is at 8 watts now, probably, and it's at a 1.8 ohm coil, so that for me is like a nice cool, it's like a cool vape. I mean, I'm not really into like having really high voltage and having it a really hot vape. I just want it to be nice and cool, so at that at the moment, I'll probably bump it up to about a 9 watts or maybe 10 watts as, after a few days or whatever. But you know, I mean, it's vaping flawlessly for me on this DNA30. So I can't really comment on what's it like at 30 watts, because don't think I'm ever gonna use it at 30 watts unless some other technique comes in with coils that, you know, I can actually be asked to do, which can't really be asked to do anything else than doing your normal Genesis style, which works for me really. I'm not bothered about doing all these fancy coils and stuff personally. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, like, but you know, each to their own. But yeah, so far so good now. I mean, like, I can't really say whether the mod's gonna last for 6 months, a year, or 3 years, or whatever. So you know, if it actually packs up in 6 months or whatever, I will put I'll put something up on this video. But you know, I just thought I'd get this video out. There's pretty much nothing on the internet for this mod, so I looked, and like you do when you buy new mods, you Google it and you go on YouTube and check it out. But there's a few pictures on the internet of it, but other than that, there's nothing, no videos or anything of it. So I thought, you know, I hadn't done a video for a long time. I thought, well, I'll do a quick review on this because it's kind of worth doing. It's a beautiful mod. I think a few people will be interested in it, and there's a bit of I think the DNA30 board is quite sweeping through the, you know, the vape scene as quite a nice board, and it is a nice board as well. But yeah, anyway, I'm rambling on. I'm not going to go on anymore about it. The DNA30 JEDNA, and a guy called Jemmett makes these on Facebook. Check it out. See ya.